Welcome to Discover a New Future, a show geared at empowering women to be the best versions of themselves. I'm your host, Faith Saunders. Today we're going to be talking about skincare, specifically how to care for our skin as we spring into summer. And that's just a play on words here. But my guest today is a skincare expert, and I learned a lot over the past month speaking to her. And I also did some research on my own. And before I introduce my guest, I'd like to share with you some interesting facts that I found out about skin. All right, the first thing I learned was that 16% of our body weight is skin. That's huge.
It's huge.
That's huge. And I also learned that 18.5 square feet of our body, our skin cover 18.5 square feet. That's a lot of our entire body. Yeah. So I won't go into the other statistics, and maybe I put them in a little bit later, but I'm really excited to start speaking to Ruth and to hear a little bit more about this whole phenomena of skin, something that we take for granted so often. So Ruth, without any further ado, I want to introduce Ruth, and I'm going to go again, Robach. I got it right.
Yes, you did.
Okay. And Ruth has over 16 years experience working in the skincare industry as well as medically.
That's correct, yeah.
And she's a certified and licensed skin care specialist. I just wanted to make sure that I said it right. And talking about someone who knows about skin, we have an expert here. I had the pleasure of going to her place of business. It's all skin. It's all about skin, and being pampered. I didn't want to leave that place. And I learned, as I mentioned, a lot about my own skin, because for one thing, I thought that all skin is the same skin. So let's even start there. Is all skin the same skin in terms of all parts of our body?
No, and as we discovered when we talked about Faith, what a pleasure, by the way, to be here. Thank you very much. And that's a good question, and you have some great statistics there as well. But our body skin is different than our facial skin. Our facial skin demands something a little bit different. So the pH for the face is generally about a 5.7, and our body skin is a different pH, which can handle different products.
Okay.
So not all products are created the same, as you and I discussed. And so body products go in the body, and facial products are designed for the face for that reason. A little bit more sensitivity in the skin, for instance.
I'm glad that I found that out, because I'm going to share my secret. I was just taking lotion and just putting it on my face everywhere. And after speaking with Ruth, I realized, well, I need to get a moisturizer or something for my face. So you'll be happy to hear that I have been using moisturizer on my face and not putting the lotion all over.
That's a beautiful thing.
So Ruth, how did you get into, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up here doing this wonderful work.
Yeah, so I actually was in a retail business in Morristown, and someone kind of sought me out a little bit and said, you'd really be good in skincare. She had a little studio there. So she said they are going to separate the cosmetologist from the skincare specialist. You don't want me to do your hair, so skin is better for me. So, and she said, you present yourself well. And I thought, wow, okay, so this is good. And I got into it at a right time in life, in my 30s. So I was a little bit more open to listen to about what skincare would be about. So I went through schooling. I was mentored by her, and then I moved on to the spa industry, eventually the medical industry, working for plastic surgeons locally here in Princeton.
Oh, wow.
Plainsboro and West Orange was my last plastic surgeon. And then off to have a little studio right in Basking Ridge.
Beautiful studio.
Yeah, as you've seen. And I work along with a massage therapist, Heather, with Soul Skin. So it's a nice studio. It works very well because we're able to work off one another. And if you like that type of setting, that's the place for special treatment. That's really the place for you. If a person likes the spa setting, this may not be their little niche. But
it's very cozy, believe me. It's
yes.
really cozy.
I love it.
So this journey into this career path has taken you down many paths, I can see. Now you're an entrepreneur, but initially working in the medical field and so forth. So in terms of working in the medical field, what were some of the things that you do in terms of educating people about?
Yeah, the medical field is quite interesting. You learn so much. I mean, I can't count on one hand, certainly on two, even how many seminars that I've been to, the people that I've met, the doors that have opened as a result, and just the different skincare lines that you learn about along the way, and the shows that you attend. Working with the different vendors, just really a phenomenal thing. So the difference really in a spa setting and a doctor setting is the product line, and that you're working on a little bit more of a serious tone. Chemical peels may be a little bit stronger. Microdermabrasion may be a little grander, if you will. And it's really important to sit down with a person and find out what their needs are. And working hand in hand with a plastic surgeon, they're letting you know what their patient needs. So then I'm there to help accommodate.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds very exciting.
It is, yeah.
Different way of actually, so often we don't even think about that. And I think that's so interesting for young people who are thinking for a profession.
Yes.
They don't think about stuff like that because that sounds so intriguing to me.
Yeah, and I'm really glad I've had both opportunities. It's the medical world is amazing. Our bodies are amazing. So to have both entities has allowed me to see so much. So it's just been a great journey for sure.
That's
And
awesome.
and more to
more, the best is yet to come.
That's right.
But I have to ask this question.
Sure.
All the time, of course, initially before all this, I didn't know that all skin wasn't the same skin. So that's one thing. But I've heard people talk about normal, dry, oily skin.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do you really figure that out? So could you kind of just enlightening us so that we can have a better understanding of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, so when I meet with a person, as you well gathered, they fill out a form, and then when they lay down on the bed, I'm able to assess the skin, but more importantly, I feel the skin. And that, and it's usually the pores which give it away, and also the feel of the skin. So if a person has normal to dry skin, you might feel a little dryness on the sides, and pretty supple skin.
Like you had me touch my own skin.
That's right. I want to
dry.
see before. I want you to see before and after. So, and then if for someone who has combination to oily skin, their pores are larger in the T-zone. And
What's the T-zone?
the T-zone is here, 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 and here.
Oh, okay.
So just think of a T.
Here, 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 and here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is a visual thing. But also you can feel. If a person has more of a combination oily skin, when I feel their skin in that area, it'll be a little bit more oilier during the day, for instance. And for someone who has very oily skin, they'll have a sheen, if you will.
And it'll come on your hands too, I guess.
That's correct.
Sheen,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
that's how we test what type of skin we have. Because most products, when you go to purchase it,
Yes.
it says for oily skin, normal skin, dry skin, combination,
That's right.
all these different stuff. And it's just like, really? I just want some lotion.
but interesting, but each one is designed for that. So for instance, I have dry skin. So I'm going to need something that's going to hydrate my skin as opposed to someone who has combination skin. They already have that oil
Right.
to their skin.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's also good to know. So when we're talking about skin, is the skin of males different from that of female as it pertains to like this dry, oily, etc.?
Great question. No, it's all the same. It's all the same. The only difference is that a man shaves his skin. Not that I recommend Faith and a woman shave her skin, but when they shave, they get an exfoliation. So you notice after a man shaves, they might have a little nice glow to their skin. So for women, they're not going to get that unless they have a facial or take care of their skin at home naturally.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So we're now in this nice weather, it's spring.
Yes.
I think most of us are at this point even confusing what are we in? Where are we really? And so in terms of transitioning from, say, spring, because we have all these different seasons,
Right.
is there any special skincare protocol that we need to follow for, as we go into different seasons, or just broadly, and then we'll talk about the spring into the...
Yeah, each season adds a different thing, if you will, or condition perhaps to our skin from winter into spring. You have perhaps a lot of dryness from the winter, cold weather, the heat, and so we'll experience more dryness. So exfoliation is recommended. So when you enter into spring, into summer, then you have a lot more humidity that starts to come about.
Okay.
So, and believe it or not, allergies play a huge role in our skin as well.
Oh, really? Talk a little bit about that.
So a person with allergies, perhaps they're on medications and so on, that may alter their skin to a degree, especially if they're on any sort of steroids. That can cause a little dryness to their nasal passage, of course, but also to their skin, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about facial as well as the other skin when we're saying that.
Yeah, but it shows more in the face because this is more exposed. You know, the rest of the body is usually covered up, except for the summer months, and then we're in bathing suits quite possibly.
And we need to talk about that
Yes.
too. So now we're going into the summer, you know, we're all looking forward to that. What are some of the things that we need to be mindful of?
Well, I always encourage, and I think we discussed that when we were together, encourage good skincare at home. So that's why I like to review skincare with people when we're together, and making sure that they're using their products the right way. And that's helpful because you may have different products and you have no idea what they're useful for until we've reviewed them and you're like, oh, well, that's what that's for.
Right.
So from spring to summer, a lot of, again, dryness to the skin. People, again, with allergies may be experiencing sensitivity to the skin and so on. What I really encourage, Faith, is drinking a lot of water.
I take some now.
And that's a real issue because a lot of people don't like to drink water. So I said, you know what, just have fun with water. Infuse it with a little cucumber, throw some fruit in the water, so you have a little fun experience. Seltzer doesn't take the place of water. Teas and coffees certainly don't. And
why doesn't seltzer? Because a lot of people, I think,
know.
substitute it.
Yes.
And why do you say it's not a substitute for water?
Water's for cleansing. It's to cleanse, and it's the easiest thing for your body to assimilate, and it helps clean the organs, blood, and so on. With seltzer, it's bubbly. You know, so your digestive system takes that on differently.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
yeah, it's a little bit more harder work, or perhaps it does a different. And if it has salt, then it kind of negates what we're trying to do with the water.
Okay, that's
Can't you know? Water's water. We need to drink it for, like you mentioned, how much water or how much skin we have, how much water we need
to nourish it.
Yeah.
So in terms of water, we say drink water, but how much water is adequate, or it varies?
Well, I spoke to a friend the other day who happens to be a nurse, and I think there's probably all sorts of formulas, but the formula she gave me, which I think was the easiest, was take our body weight and put it in half, and then that would be ounces. So a 100-pound person, for instance, would need 50 ounces of water to maintain themselves.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. However, but that's
on a daily basis?
On a daily basis.
Wow.
However, say if I was a sports person, I'm running, or I'm jogging, I'm in the sun, whatever my activities are, I would need more water.
Wow.
That's right. So our bodies need it. Not everybody seems to take in as much as we, and I'm guilty of it at times too. So
I'm guilty of it all the time. Take another sip. But that's interesting.
Yeah.
So take your half, whatever your weight is, and then take half of that, and that's what you're supposed to be drinking in terms of water. Okay, that's interesting. So what else do we need to do intake? So we drink water, drinking on water, at least half of our body weight of water each day will help with our skin. But what else do we need to do as we move into the warm weather?
So we want to be sure that our products are proper for that particular. So if I have combination skin, for instance, in the winter months, I may have needed something a little bit more nourishing for the skin to keep it moist. Now in the summertime, the humidity comes in, I don't need that. So for combination skin to oily skin, certainly something oil-free. Besides water, naturally, the SPF. I can't stress that enough. What bases the SPF? You need a UVA, UVB. Something like titanium dioxide is quite helpful for blocking the sun and for the skin. And always follow the instructions. I love when people say, "Oh, well, I put it on this morning, and it still got burnt." And I said, "Well, did you reapply it?" No, they didn't. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's really key. It's not towel proof, so you do need to reapply it if you buy the water.
That's interesting because I'm one of those people who have been guilty of that. That just putting it on once. And I think also for people of color, I must say, sometimes I felt that I really didn't need a sunblock.
Yes.
Because
you tan well.
I'm natural. But I, based on our conversation, everyone needs to actually have some protection.
Yes, because everybody could burn.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what color the skin is, everybody could get burnt if you're out in a top 10 day and you're out in the sun for many hours of the day. If I'm lighter, I'm going to get darker.
I'm dark, I'm going to get darker.
So the sun protection really is protecting it from certain skin disorders or certainly any sort of melanoma or anything like that that we'd want to be careful of. A skin burn will show up later on in life. If I've been burnt as a child, it'll show up
in what way?
Later on. The skin usually is very sensitive in that area. So say if it was in a cheek or on the nose, I could say, well, you had a burn years ago, didn't you? And they go, how did you know that? Because there's still a sensitivity there. There might be some darkness in the skin that's left behind, and sun damage tends to show up later on in life anyway.
Oh, wow. See, we learned another fact, interesting fact there. So when, what was I going? I lost my train of thought. There was different numbers. That's where I wanted to go. There's all these different lotions have these different numbers. Really, what do they mean?
Well, the 15 and 30, some of them go up to 90. I don't know what that is exactly. Having attended a seminar, and they were talking about the SPF and certain blocking factors, such as your titanium dioxide, as I mentioned before. It's really the time, how much you put it on, or how long you put it on for. So if it's a 30, for instance, and it says you can be exposed to the sun for 1 hour, but then you need to reapply it. It's really, again, following the instructions. It's kind of monitoring a certain time period as to when you should reapply. And if we're going from work to home to work, we're still getting exposure in the car. I think that's what a lot of people forget. Our windows in our car are not SPF tinted.
Exactly.
Darn.
Who knows? Maybe that's the next thing's coming. Maybe you're onto something there. But what's interesting? Sometimes people said in the winter you don't need to have protection. Is that true?
Well, yes and no. Again, it depends on where you live. But here in New Jersey, you're still going to get a certain amount of sun. We do need the vitamin D. Naturally, it's good to get that. But if we're outside, for instance, if we worked outside, then a sunblock would be important. I used to ski. I had to wear sunblock because you would get a literal tan from skiing, from the snow, the glare of the snow, and of course the sun. So
see, that's so interesting things that we need to be mindful of.
Sure.
So, anything else that we need to be aware of in terms of the summer? So we talked about the water. We talked about the SPF. Anything else? Well,
and too with SPF, there's a couple that I carry, which is quite nice, because I had a conversation this week with a woman, and she says, well, I wear makeup, so how am I going to reapply an SPF? Well, I have a mineral SPF. So if you're using mineral makeup, that's perfect. You can just reapply it after that. And also, good skin care at home is mentioned, exfoliation at least 2 times a week.
Explain what's that? I mean, I don't want to sound too ignorant, but just to share, what do you mean by that?
So exfoliation, people may recognize it as things like an apricot scrub or something like that. It's a little too harsh, so you want to use something gentle, like a jojoba beads. What I used on you was very gentle. It has like a little bromelain, which is something that's found in the pineapple. You just want to break down that dry, dead skin, because even in the summertime, we get that dry, dead skin from the sun, from the sun damage. So whether we're transitioning from one place to another, we still need to really maintain exfoliation, and that's usually generally a product. Could be mixed with your cleanser and used again once or twice a week. Some people use brushes, on their skin. Those are things that certainly can be discussed with each individual that I deal with, and certainly facials, even in the summertime, are very helpful to keep the skin looking healthy.
So, is there any a special way to actually, like when you're doing one of those, putting on the mask or whatever you're putting on,
exfoliation,
right?
Yes.
Is there any special way to put it on or to rub it in, or I'm just curious. It just came to mind.
Okay. I mix mine with my cleanser. So I just put it on and I give myself a little rub down. Nothing too serious.
Not too harsh.
Not too harsh. Some people feel like they have to really dig deep, and it's just really more repetitive movements, some gentle repetitive movements, and then rinse it off, whether you're jumping in the shower or whether you use a washcloth in the evening to do that.
Okay.
So, and a toner is very important.
What does the toner do now?
Yeah, good question, Faith. The toner's helpful after you rinse your skin, especially at night. If you wear makeup, very important. The toner you put on a little cotton pad, and it could be something even as gentle as a witch hazel, and you wipe off the residue of perhaps some makeup that you left behind. We really think we cleanse our skin well enough, but we're taking like nanoseconds to do this. So if we take that pad, we'll notice how much
more
dirt
we've left there.
Yeah. So it gives it a good clean. It also closes the pores, and of course moisturizer.
And so what the moisturizer does then? So I'm seeing we clean the skin, then we take off the extra layer of dirt that may be there that we thought that we got, and that closes the pore. That's a toner.
Yep.
And then the moisturizer does what?
Nourishes the skin.
Okay.
Day and night.
Okay.
Yeah. So some people get a little lazy and they'll only have one moisturizer and it has SPF, so they'll use it day and night. And I'm like, you're not going in the sun at night. So you need to nourish your skin really at night. That's when we repair. That's when our skin repairs. So a good cleansing regime, toner, moisturizer, SPF certainly for the day, and again, drink water. Is important.
Well, where I'm from, one of the things that we used to use, and I think some people still use, is jelly, petroleum jelly, baby oil. Are those things kind of good for our skin too?
Well,
as lotion or kind of.
Well, for the body, this is where it kind of differentiates.
Okay.
For the body, after bathing, a person could use baby oil. Coconut oil is very, very good for the body. A lot of people are saying they're using it on their face, but that could cause some congestion to the pores, and blackheads could result, or even some breakouts could happen. So body products for the body, and then facial products for the face. But I would go through, and I do that generally with people, go through their products, see what's in them that's what was redeeming for their skin. Again, it's all about nourishment. Petroleum will just sit on top of the skin. It's not going to nourish the skin.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people use people use the petroleum because they think that it doesn't let our skin look dry.
Well, and it doesn't, right? Like even your cold creams, it makes it look really good.
Yeah.
But again, it's a protection. It really doesn't, the molecules are not small enough to nourish that skin. It really has to do all about chemistry in the world of the cosmeceuticals.
Well, tell us a little bit about All About Skin. Again, it's a quaint little place that I really recommend your viewers to actually go to. Tell us a little about your
well, it kind of worked out in a very nice way. I've known Heather for many years. So I went to her and I said, what do you think about possibly me joining you here? is there room for me here? And what a perfect setup, if you will, a massage therapist and a facialist. So she said, well, come and check it out, because what's the worst that's going to happen is someone's just going to say, no, it's okay, wait another time. So I went and I said, this is perfect. My room's got a sink, and her room doesn't. That's all good. And she says, well, there's another person involved, so check with her. So we all agreed that this would be a perfect fit. So although she has her own business, I have mine. It's a nice fit with packages if somebody wants to go from one room to another.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really, really nice. Tell us about, because I'm still glowing about my facial is one piece, but also, my thing with my hands. What did you do with my hands again?
I can't tell you. So I just recently obtained a hot paraffin wax pot, and it's a wonderful therapy, especially for people with arthritis. People are having a lot of difficulties in the winter months with dryness of their skin. So as you remember, I exfoliated your skin, your hands, and then you rinsed it off, and then you just put your hands in the hot paraffin, and then you sit in warm mitts for about 10, 15 minutes, and just talk a little bit and enjoy ourselves, and give you a nice massage afterwards, and you're all set with...
My hands felt like they weren't mine in a positive way. Yeah, it really felt, I felt so much different with my hands when I did that.
That's
so
great.
You'll be seeing me very soon again.
Very good.
So what words do you have for our viewers? Any parting words?
Well, skin is the most amazing organ, as you've just indicated, and our bodies are amazingly made, and we want to take care of it because this is exposed most. Take care of your skin. Come and visit me at the studio and enjoy a facial. Enjoy some education, and
you
just
do that.
enjoy the event, if you will.
So it was a real pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Faith.
I'm so glad that we had this chance to actually speak and to really educate our viewers about how to take care of their skin during, especially the summer months, because we're all on the go. We don't want to be inside. We have been cooped up all the summer, all winter, and now we want to really get outside, and sometimes we forget about that. And especially, we didn't talk about children, and that the children, I guess, I think we have a few minutes. Skin, do you think, or is children's skin more delicate than that of adults, and should we really pay a lot of attention to children?
Yeah, and they'll even have skincare products for children because the children at a certain age can't use certain SPFs. It's not recommended. So it's always, you check with your pediatrician on that. But yes, the children's skin is going to be a little bit more delicate, if you will. So if you notice, a mother will lather up their children, and then she won't lather up herself.
Yeah, exactly.
And wear hats. I mean, hats are in.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing, So, but children, it's very important to take care of them, take care of ourselves.
That's so important, and taking care of ourselves. I'm coming from a training I was doing. I was sharing with the ladies that we need to take care of ourselves because our kids are like sponge.
Yep.
They see how we take care of ourselves, and we're teaching them this is how you take. So if we're not doing for ourselves,
That's right.
we're teaching them, you're not important as a person,
That's right.
when you become an adult.
That's right.
So with this in mind, I just want to say to my viewers that take care of yourself.
Yes.
And continue to think positively. And again, thank you, Ruth, for being here.
Thank you, Faith.
Have a good day.